Good morning. It is time for some hot chocolate news. Welcome back to another edition of Hot Chocolate News. Remember, we premiered it last week. Glad that you could join us. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share. I am your wonderful, beautiful host, the Black Girl Magic Master herself, Shaquila. And this is a hodgepodge combination of all the emails that you might have missed because you had to get to work. Well, I got you. Your girl got you. Listen. There's some things that you need to understand or know about me. First of all, I am a certified financial advisor. I am a CEO. I am a certified, I'm literally a certified everything. So when I'm coming to you with this news, it's because I think this is a space that's missing us and some reality and how we really take on this situation. So let's talk about Morning Brew. We're going to get into Morning Brew. Because Morning Brew always come through every morning. If you're not subscribing to Morning Brew, you'll be able to click the link and subscribe to Morning Brew in my link. So anyway, let me tell you about what Morning Brew is telling us today. Did you know, first of all, everybody should be back in school. All the kiddos should be back going to school right now. And, it would be, so to celebrate the annual pilgrimage back to the classroom, I want to talk about something that they're bringing back to the classroom, an unconventional punishment that you might not know is more widespread than you think. So we probably should talk about that topic first. So did you know, and this is on everything, this is being reported by Morning Brew, the Missouri School District is planning on bringing back spanking. You heard me. They're bringing back spanking. And basically, if all other disciplinary actions fail, teachers in Missouri, Cassville, R4 school district will be allowed to spank a student with a paddle. This is what parents learned last week. The superintendent said that the school board brought back this practice after parents asked for more punishment other than suspension. See, be careful for what you ask for, parents, because they're going to give it to you. So, the parents have approved the spanking of their child, but only once do they do that. Once the teacher can use, the teacher has to use reasonable physical force on a student, but give no chance of bodily injury or harm. You know what I'm saying? They got to walk this weird line, just like, the school. Oh my goodness. It's too much. It's too much. A witness has to be present during the spanking. So who is this witness going to be? And a teacher or principal must give notice to the superintendent justifying the punishment. Big picture. You might be surprised to learn that corporal punishment, as it's formally known, is legal in 19 states. And that's because of a Supreme Court decision in 1977 that said that the technique was constitutional and it let each state decide on its own rules. So it's more than 69,000 children were actually punished physically in 2017, between 2017 and 2018 school year. And this is according to the most recent data. I don't know how y'all feel about that, but it says spanking in schools definitely has a load of critics, including the American Academy of Pediatrics and the American Psychological Association, which says that it's not effective, this corporal punishment, and that it can give students trauma. A 2016 study found that the boys, black children, or as they say, black kids, as reported in Morning Brew, and children with disabilities were more likely to be paddled than their peers. So they want us to stay tuned for more back to school stories because this is what Morning Brew is going to start doing, giving us really good back to school stories. So in the week ahead, for 2 weeks, the racket sport everybody will be talking about won't be pickleball as the U.S. opens because it opens in Flushing's Meadow today. But it will likely be the fact that it's the last tournament that the Serena Williams will compete in. So, also, fresh job numbers. The August job reports have dropped on Friday, in case you didn't know. And despite the rising interest rates and the slowing economy, the labor market has remained surprisingly durable. That's being reported in Morning Brew. And there's an average of 418 jobs that have been added to the economy each month. Also in this week's news, we're going back to the Middle Earth. Basically, the Lord of the Rings. Yeah, they got the rings of power. Y'all seen the commercial. It's going to be one of the most expensive. Well, it's the most expensive TV show ever made. And it hits Amazon Prime Video on Friday. The cost of the show, $715 million. Basically, it's the equivalent of 15% of Amazon's revenue last year. And about 20% of what New Zealand budgeted for defense this year, per the Wall Street Journal, per the Morning Brew. Right? Everything else, though. Listen, Russia will stop gas flows through the Nord Stream 1 pipeline on Wednesday for 3 days only for some maintenance. And also, this is the 25th anniversary of Princess Diana's death on Wednesday. And Rick and Morty season 6 is back. It arrives on Sunday for those that are avid Rick and Morty fans. But let's get to some key performance indicators according to Morning Brew. The perfect way that you should celebrate the pumpkin spice season is, okay, let's see. They say that Nebraska's Dwayne Hansen, he basically set a record for the longest journey in a pumpkin boat this weekend. So I guess he's a pumpkin grower, and he paddled 861-pound pumpkin. He was inside of an 861-pound pumpkin named Berta. He did that for 41 miles down the Missouri. Here we go with Missouri's ass again. 41 miles down the Missouri River on Saturday, smashing the previous record of 25.5 miles. Okay, so I did that because I need to have a little lighthearted before I reported this news, because this is the news according to Morning Brew. These are some this is Morning Brew's key. This is out of their grab bag of key performance indicators, right? And they always give you this quote of what's going to come out of this next story. When I read it earlier this morning, I was literally like, I better have some good juju going through me, some woo-sawness. Yes. Oh, speaking of, I don't got my earrings on again. Here we go, but it's all good. So listen, this is the quote. As a society, we have to do more to create an atmosphere where racist assholes like this never feel comfortable attacking others. That's the quote. Okay, maybe I should do it like the quote in the let me repeat that. Here's the quote. As a society, we have to do more to create an atmosphere where racist hoes like this never feel comfortable attacking others. Now, that's the quote that's coming out of this reported news out of Morning Brew. It said that Utah's Republican Governor Spencer Cox, he responded to an incident at the BYU versus Duke women's volleyball game. This was in Provo on Friday night when a fan repeatedly yelled racist slurs at Duke's Rachel Richardson. I take it personal because I'm a Richard. Like I said, Friday night at the Duke versus the BYU women's volleyball game in Provo, a fan repeatedly yelled racist slurs at Duke's Rachel Richardson, who is a black volleyball player. And basically, the fan, who is not even a student, has been banned from all BYU athletic facilities. Thank you, Utah Governor Republican Spencer. And I don't say that often, but the quote, you heard the quote. You can rewind this video and hear the quote for yourself. But my. All right. So let's take a shallow dive, shall we? Back into the week. So let's see. You know, a lot of games are starting this Saturday. The Buckeyes in particular. We're going against that Notre Dame, but of course I'm a Buckeye fan and I do not. Yeah, we don't talk negatively about anything. The Buckeyes will be showing out on Saturday. Oh, yes, I'm a real Buckeye fan. But anyway, what else is brewing in Morning Brew? The Buffalo Bills, they released their punter, Matt Araiza. And, you know, the reason why they did this because he was accused in a lawsuit that was really ugly of gang raping of a minor with two of his former teammates at the San Diego State. So he denies these allegations, but that's brewing in Morning Brew. Also, U.S. intelligence officials said that they'll review the records that were taken from Mar-a-Lago for potential national security risks. That is also going on. That's also brewing in this morning. Also, what's brewing in Morning Brew was that there's 2 U.S. warships that actually transited the Taiwan Strait for the first time since House Speaker Nancy Pelosi visited the little island. Remembered about that. Also, Chipotle workers in Michigan. Good job to you. You became the first location to unionize at the company. Chipotle workers in Michigan. Yeah, they did that. That really happened. Also in Morning Brew, y'all, I don't know if y'all understand, but Pakistan is facing a climate catastrophe. See, Pakistan officials said on Sunday that there's a flooding from a monsoon season that has killed more than 1,000 people, literally since mid-June. This is including 119 in the previous 24 hours. So flash floods that have destroyed the villages and affected at least 33 million people is amounted to a climate-induced humanitarian disaster of epic proportions. And this is being reported by Pakistan's climate change minister. Now, you know, that's real sad right there. That's real sad right there. Let's move on because that's sad. Let me try to bring up today's news. Also, listen, I'm gonna say this twice today. $3 movie tickets are coming. Oh yeah, according to Morning Brew, you'll be able to tell your grandkids back in my day, I paid $3 for a movie ticket. Because on Saturday, the majority of movie theaters in the U.S. will sell tickets for what? $3. See, the National Cinema Day initiative launched by the nonprofit Cinema Foundation. This is an effort to get people back into the theaters during Labor Day. You know what I'm saying? This is when typically people, you know, it's one of the weakest times of the year. So this is also a plus for the domestic box office sales that were basically slumped, you know what I'm saying, during the 2019 levels at about 20%. So just get ready for that. I'm going to repeat that again at the end of this news. But also, y'all, there's a baseball card that's sold for $12.6 million. See, a 1952 Mickey Mantle baseball card in mint condition sold for $12.6 million at an auction. topping a $9.3 million Diego Maradona jersey as being the most expensive piece of sports memorabilia ever sold. What? I just reported on my my first accounting business class that we had Saturday, which will be available soon. I have a nice new streaming situation, Yizer, y'all, where I have you'll see the classes on it. But I reported on that class 10 things that are better than cash. And when I say this baseball card that sold for $12.6 million, I talked about stuff like that. So you're going to want to get ready to sign up for our YizerTV.com. But anyway, I digress. Did y'all know? Oh, y'all, listen, today, they're going to do a moon launch. Yeah, they're probably doing it right now from 8:30 to 10:30 Eastern time. But did you know that a human hasn't stepped foot on the moon since 1972? Did you know that? So NASA wants to change that today and mark it with a major milestone on its quest to put the astronauts back on the lunar surface. So at 8:33 a.m. Eastern, the agency is set to launch its new moon rocket. Yes, called the Space Launch System, the SLS. Basically, this is the most powerful rocket ever built. I'm pretty sure Elon Musk and Bezos has got their ears open to this one. But anyway, the uncrewed mission will head to, and that is not being reported by Morning Brew. That's one of my little snippets I just slid in there. You can read it for yourself if you get to click the link in the referral link I'm going to put in the comments. Anyway, in the description about how to see this Morning Brew news yourself. Because I'm not making this up. You can't make this up. But the uncrewed mission will head toward the moon and complete 1.5 orbits during a 42-day mission. If successful, the voyage will basically set the stage for a crewed flyby mission to the moon in 2024, teeing up a potential landing as soon as what? 2025, the following year. But this is a rocket, people. This is rocket science, people. This is, after all, and most things don't go according to plan. The SLS was first ordered by Congress in 2010, just so you know, and is only now hitting the launch pad after numerous delays and billions in cost overrun. So this is a project done by Obama so that it don't get misconstrued. Like this is under the Obama administration. We said 2010. Anyway, I digress. And that's not a Morning Brew thing. That's a me and you thing. So, and it's only now hitting the launch pad after numerous delays and billions of dollars in cost overruns, Plus, getting humans on the moon will require not only the rocket, but also a vehicle to send the astronauts from the capsule to the moon's surface. SpaceX has been tapped to provide that lunar lander, but it hasn't really successfully reached orbit yet. So, like I'm reporting by Morning Brew, I would say simply that this space is hard. And that's what NASA Administrator Bill Nelson deadpanned on Saturday. So why even go to the moon? Well, here's a few reasons. Now, this is just so you know, this is according to Morning Brew. The reason why NASA thinks it's worth the trouble, and this is per NPR, is that one, science. Basically, lunar geologists say some parts of the moon are pivotal for the understanding of the beginnings of the solar system because there's no atmosphere or flowing water to erode rocks. Number two, this is dress rehearsal for Mars. Before astronauts head to the red planet, they can work out all the kinks on the moon, which is 200 times closer to the Earth than Mars. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Marketing, well, hey, that's number three. It's, we're talking about NASA, right? You know what I'm saying? Doing big, buzzy, billion-dollar projects like moon landings and in little capsules to get them from the moon to the, Marketing could help boost the reputation of this agency and also inspire more Americans to want to pursue science and really get into the engineering careers. So, one more final fun fact from Morning Brew: NASA's new moon program is called the Artemis. And in Greek mythology, Artemis was the twin sister of Apollo, the name of NASA's OG moon program. So, that, just so you know. Let's move right on to some morning headlines in CNN. So this is what CNN wanted to report to us today. Of course, CNN reported that the Artemis was, was doing its thing, and it just kind of added that it was coming from that. While there is no human crew aboard the mission, it's the first step of the Artemis program, which aims to return humans to the moon and eventually land them on Mars. And plus, the weather is looking promising. Now, CNN is reporting that there is flooding going on. They're saying that residents in Jackson, Mississippi, are once again packing up their belongings to evacuate a record-setting rain and rising river water situation that's threatening to seep into their homes today. So the officials of the state Pearl River is predicted to crest at about 35.5 feet this morning, and that's lower than the previously anticipated, but still high enough to flood the streets number. But as many as 150 homes will likely be affected by this flooding in Jackson, Mississippi. Now, Jackson's mayor, his name is Chakwe Antar Lumumba. This is what he said over the weekend. He's telling residents to get out now. Authorities are warning that the communities facing the highest risks are the ones dealing with the toll of historic flooding who had to deal with it in 2020. So those are the ones that are at the most, that's at the highest risk. Basically, 2 years ago, flooding in several neighborhoods in northeast downtown Jackson damaged numerous homes beyond repair and left an extensive amount of debris and damage. Get out now, those in Jackson, Mississippi. I don't know what is going on. Also reported in CNN News is that there's gun violence again that is really plaguing the United States, y'all. Listen, this weekend, as a number of shootings took place across several states, at least 2 people were killed in a shooting at a grocery store on Sunday in Bend, Oregon, and a person believed to be the shooter was also found dead at the scene. So this is what police are reporting, and this is being reported in CNN News via email. So in Houston, 3 people were killed and 2 people were injured early Sunday morning after a man dressed in black set fire to a building and then shot at the people as they were fleeing. I mean, literally. Separately, people are still searching for at least one gunman after a shooting in New York City's Coney Island boardwalk, which left 1 man dead and 4 others injured Saturday night. Authorities are saying that these various investigations are underway to determine these shooters' motives and stuff. Like, what? Also, CNN is reporting that the federal government is ending its free at-home COVID-19 test program this week. The program, which provided up to 16 free tests per household since the beginning of the year, will be suspended Friday. And this is due to a lack of funding and efforts to actually preserve the supply ahead of an anticipated fall surge in cases. So anyway, a White House officially basically told CNN this, and I'm telling you this on this hot chocolate news. The administration basically launched the initiative in January amid a wave of basically an Omicron variant cases and limited testing availability. However, officials have warned for months that this lack of additional funding for Congress will force them to roll back the COVID-19 response efforts. I don't know. Good luck with that, government. And Fauci leaving and all of this confusion, listen. Also being reported in CNN News is Ukraine. It's saying that With the war in Ukraine now past the 6-month mark, U.S. and European officials say that Ukraine is successfully using a method of resistance warfare developed by the U.S. to fight back against Russia. So the concept provides a blueprint for smaller nations to effectively resist and confront larger neighbors that have invaded them. So despite being outnumbered, outgunned, and outmanned by Russia's vastly superior military, Ukraine has fought back using these tactics against the Kremlin, which thought it would just run through the vast majority of Ukraine within a matter of weeks. You know what I'm saying? If not days. Meanwhile, the two countries are blaming each other for the shelling that we've been seeing. Y'all seeing the shelling? They're blaming each other Sunday in Russia-controlled city near the nuclear power plant, which has sparked fears of potential nuclear accidents. What the? All right, let's move right on because let's go on to CNBC. What CNBC had to report, because for real, oh my wordy be. Oh my goodness. So CNN basically reported an ugly Monday as far as stock markets ended last week on a sour note, right? And as all three major U.S. indexes sold off sharply for their worst closes in months after the federal chairman, Jerome Powell, said that the central bank would continue to fight inflation with rate increases. So this week doesn't look like it's getting off to a hot start either. Futures were down across the board Monday morning with no economic data or major earnings report expected. You know, investors are looking forward to August jobs reports now. I told you about the August jobs report. Just rewind if you want. And it's scheduled for Friday. And as they weigh just how big of a rate hike could be coming from the federal in September, you know, everybody's just hunkering down. You know what I'm saying? What else is CNBC reporting? They're reporting that the UN inspectors are heading to the Ukraine nuclear plant. They saying that there's a team of the United Nations International Atomic Energy Agency is headed for the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant in Ukraine. All right, Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant in Ukraine. You say it. Zaporizhzhia. Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant in Ukraine. Basically, the facility, the largest of its kind in Europe. I just want to put that out there, or that's what CNBC wants y'all to want to listen. The largest of its kind in Europe has been in focus amid intense fighting between the Ukrainian and Russian forces that are in the area. So the Russians have been shelling the region around this plant, triggering fears of a nuclear meltdown. So the inspectors will go and examine the damage to the plant and evaluate whether or not it's safe and secure. So you need to begin your CNBC morning squawk email, because they're going on deeper. They go in further. You know what I'm saying? Some other stories that CNBC think you might have missed over the weekend is that cash is king, especially for electric vehicle makers. The soaring battery prices are driving the production cost up. Also, stories you might have missed over the weekend, according to CNBC Morning Squawk, people are returning to offices and are still buying breakfast, even as they cut back on other things. So we're still eating breakfast. We still believe in a healthy start to that day. Yes, we do. And another story that CNBC want to make sure we didn't miss over the weekend is that Chinese the technical giants in the Chinese situation, they had their worst quarterly growth on record. This is the second superpower. And that's thanks to Beijing's zero COVID policy. That whole, hey, you know, Dang. How's that working for y'all? I don't know. But this was these are stories by CNBC's Jesse Pound, Michael Sheets, Jennifer Elias, Arjun Karpel. They all contributed to this report, and I, your lovely host, reported it. Yes, they don't even know about me, but y'all know about me. Y'all know about me. All right, is there any other news that we need to talk about before I let y'all go? Why Home Depot is not a boring defensive stock. That's according to, I'm sorry, I'm a Warren Buffett subscriber as well. Anything we need to know? CNN, What Matters, is reporting the climate crisis. A mega drought is ravaging the American West. Extreme flooding in Pakistan and Afghanistan. Record-setting rain in Mississippi. Heat waves across China. And miles of wildfire in Oregon. Angela Dewan is reporting that if nature were to send us a dire warning about the climate crisis, this is what it would look like. Angela Dewan, she says that the dangerous levels of heat seen across the northern hemisphere this summer are likely to hit most of the world between 3 and 10 times more often by the turn of the century. So according to the recent study from researchers at the Harvard University and the University of Washington, deadly heat waves are currently rare in the mid-latitudes, but they are likely to start happening annually in this region. Wow. So Chicago, for example, is projected to see a 16-fold increase in dangerous heat waves by 2100. And this is what the study shows. So your grandbabies is going to be burnt to a crisp. The situation will be even worse in the tropics, where people could be exposed to dangerous heat most days of the year. Days of extremely dangerous heat, which is defined as 51 degrees Celsius or 124 degrees Fahrenheit. This could double. And this is what experts say, that those levels of heat, they push the limits of humanity's survivability. You understand me? And so the unconventional truth, according to this CNN What Matters, is that this study, and this is being reported by Angela Dewan, she's saying that the study also estimated that there was only 0.1% chance of a limited warning to the 1.5 degrees Celsius by 2100. And that the world will likely approach 2 degrees Celsius of warming as soon as 2050. That's not good. The 2-degree mark, that's a rise of 3.6 degrees of Fahrenheit in global temperature. I know this is hot chocolate news, but that's hot. And this was set by a 2015 Paris Agreement, which was first proposed as a threshold by Yale economist William Nordhaus in 1977. But look, here we are. The climate has been warming since the burning of the fossil fuels began in the late 1800s during the Industrial Revolution. And this is what researchers are saying. And if we surpass this mark, if we surpass that mark, it has been estimated that life on our planet will change as we know it. Rising seas, mass extinctions, super droughts, increased wildfires, intense hurricanes, decreased crops, and fresh water and the melting of the Arctic are just some of the things that we're going to be expecting by 2100. And it starting in 2050. So the impact of human health will be profound. Rising temperatures and shift in weather will lead to a reduced air quality, reduced food quality, reduced food and water it will lead to water contaminations, more infections carried by mosquitoes and ticks, and stress on the mental health. And this was all according to what? Not a 2022 report of the Medical Society Consortium on Climate and Health. This was reported in 2017. So I'm hoping, that the Democrats' climate package makes a difference. And in CNN, What Matters is reporting that can Democrats' climate package make a difference? They saying that nearly $370 billion in clean energy and climate package is the largest climate investment in U.S. history and the biggest victory for the environmental movement since the landmark Clean Air Act. So analysis from the Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer's office, as well as multiple independent analyses, they suggest that the measure would reduce the U.S. carbon emissions by 40% by 2030. We need that. So the Inflation Reduction Act, which President Joe Biden signed into law earlier this month, also contains many tax incentives that are meant to bring down the cost of electricity with more renewables and spur more American consumers to switch to electricity to power their homes and vehicles, because literally the bills right now, I'm sorry, and when we gonna fix that utility bill? Anyway, I digress, because that's the bill. Why I can't have a business that get paid like the utility company? You understand me? But anyway, strong climate regulations, according to CNN What Matters, from the Biden administration and actions from the states would be needed to get the Biden's goal of cutting these emissions 50% by 2030. And those measures would have to become increasingly drastic as time goes on if the U.S. wants to help change the global climate picture. So expect more green policies, especially from states like California air regulators, for example. They voted Thursday to approve stringent rules that would ban the sale of new gasoline cars by 2035. Yes, they did. And they set interim targets to basically phase those cars right on out. Yeah, California ain't playing with us. This measure is a historic one. A historic one in the United States. And we would be one of the first such countries worldwide to do this type of ban. It has major implications for the United States car market, which is given how large California's economy is, and the state and that the several states are expected to implement these similar rules. Already 15 states, including Colorado, Minnesota, as well as states in the Northeast and the West Coast, have already started following California's previous zero emission vehicle regulations. So, just get ready, for that. And what else? According to CNN What Matters, Ukrainian police discovered more than 1,300 dead bodies in Kiev. That's 1,300 bodies in Kiev. In Bukhna, they are forced to bury the dead with numbers and not names. 6 months after the Russian invasion, Ukrainians are reeling from the impact of past horrors and bracing for new ones. That right there. Also, what else is being reported according to CNN What Matters? Warren takes aim at the Fed. Okay? Democratic Senator Warren takes aim at the Fed. Basically, Democratic, I'm getting all kinds of emails. Maybe I'm spending too long, but we got 5 more minutes in this broadcast. Either way it goes. Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts on Sunday, she slammed the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell for suggesting interest rates should go up, basically to combat inflation in the U.S., saying that he could tip the economy into recession. I am very worried about this because the causes of inflation. Things like the fact that COVID is still shutting down parts of the economy around the world, that we still have supply chain kinks, that we still have a war going on in Ukraine that drives up the cost of energy, and that we still have these giant corporations that are engaging in price gouging. Senator Elizabeth Warren, she told Dana Bash, the State of the Union, she's worried. So, meanwhile, the GOP latches on to Biden's semi-fascism remarks. You know, Republican Governor Chris Sununu of New Hampshire is calling on Biden to apologize for suggesting that the driving force behind the GOP supporters of former President Donald Trump was akin to semi-fascism. I thought it would have been worse myself, but whatever. You really want that, Sununu? Come on, Sununu. I mean, he said the fact that the president would go out and just insult half of America. Oh, that's half of America, huh? Half of America, huh? Effectively calling half of America semi-fascist because he's returning to stir up controversy. He's trying to stir up this anti-Republican sentiment right before the election. It's horribly inappropriate. This is what Governor Sununu said to CNN on the State of the Union. Come on, miss us, Governor Sununu, with your shenanigans, because that ain't nothing but shenanigans. Now, also in CNN, what matters, smoking weed is more popular than smoking your cigarettes. For the first time in Gallup polling, more Americans, 16%, said that they smoked marijuana. And they said that they smoked marijuana more than they had smoked a tobacco cigarette in the past week. That's what 11% said. Now, CNN's Harry ENTEN is reporting that. Y'all, okay, so I gotta go because my phone is on fire. I am a certified financial advisor and I do have to get to fire. But this has been your hot chocolate news. I really hope that you enjoyed. Thank you for joining me. We're going to try this again on probably next Monday. I got to pace myself because I don't want to burn out. You don't want me to burn out. I know you don't want me to burn out. This is real live news that you can use. And I'm bringing it to you all day real. And y'all know I got to get and watch my Bloomberg. And I'm missing it because the bell done dropped. I want to see if Senator Warren is correct. The federal chairman could just drive the whole economy into a recession. All right, love, peace, and hair grease, y'all. This has been your Hot Chocolate News presented by Black Girl Magic Masters, the Black Girl Magic Master herself, Shaquila. Talk to y'all in a minute.